This is a Pele Media podcast.
Welcome back to Jurassic Park Minute. Jurassic Park Minute is the fan podcast that chronicles and overanalyzes the classic 1993 film Jurassic Park. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
Oh, I forgot to say minute by minute.
You did, yeah.
Well,
something fell a little off.
It does it minute by minute. I think, everything's going real smooth so far tonight. So I think I got relaxed and into a groove there where everything was like, hey, nothing can go wrong. And instantly, something went wrong.
You're probably still in that post-Thanksgiving just state of chill.
I am. The euphoria of having a belly full of turkey and pumpkin pie and coffee and having passed out on the couch watching football, even though I'm not really into football. It was a long, fun night of Thanksgiving-ing it up. So I had a really good time. But hey, we're back here in the studio. It's a Friday show, and we're on to minute number 29 of Jurassic Park. So
that's right.
How was your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was pretty good. You were there.
I was there, yeah, so it was pretty good. We hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving as well. Today's Black Friday, so maybe people are listening to this while they're standing in line to get a new 65-inch TV, a 4K Ultra HD TV from the Best Buy or the other big box store or something like that. So if you're joining us from a line, turn to the person around you and be like, man, you got to listen to this podcast. You like Jurassic Park, right? And if this is after you've done your Black Friday shopping, we really hope your bruises are healing up pretty quickly.
True.
So in the spirit of American excess and consumerism, would you like to go ahead and get into minute number 29?
Jurassic Park? Yeah,
let's do it. In the previous minute, we met Dr. Henry Wu, the chief geneticist at Jurassic Park, and got to see the hatchery where dinosaurs are born. As the minute ended, Dr. Grant and John Hammond noticed an egg that was about to hatch. At minute number 29, a robotic arm reaches down and holds a twitching egg still. Hammond puts on a pair of latex gloves and states that he insists on being present when a dinosaur is born. At 29:06, we cut to a shot of an egg with a crack in it. The robotic arm is still holding the egg straight up as Grant watches intently. Hammond says, "Come on." Slowly, something pushes its way out of the egg. As the creature continues to push its way out of the egg, squeaking can be heard. At 29:18, we cut to another shot of the egg, this time over Hammond's shoulder. The robotic arm has disappeared. At 29:24, as Hammond continues to coach the baby dinosaur on, we can see an eye appear inside of the egg. Hammond tells the dinosaur to push. At 29:30, the baby dinosaur reaches out of the egg and grabs onto the shell with its tiny claw. After a few seconds, Hammond reaches over and removes some of the shell from the dinosaur's snout. Hammond continues to remove the shell as the dinosaur lets out a tiny scream. At 29:42, we cut to a shot of the dinosaur emerging from the egg. Hammond says that they imprint on the first creature that they come in contact with. He goes on to state that it helps them trust him. Grant points at himself. Hammond says that he has been present for the birth of every creature on the island. At 29:56, Malcolm tells Hammond that surely he hasn't been present for all the births that have happened in the wild. Dr. Wu walks around the side of the table to state that they can't breed in the wild. And thus ends minute number 29 of Jurassic Park. All right, so this one has a very obvious flub in it that I want to talk about right off the bat, and it's the robotic arm.
I debated on pointing this out to listeners because I'll never be able to watch this scene again without seeing it. But you know what? We're here to talk about this movie as it is.
And I want to say that when we talk about the flubs in this movie, we're not making a statement on how good or bad the film is. I mean, the best movies ever made, and I would count Jurassic Park as maybe not like the top 10 films ever made. It's up there, man. Mm-hmm. Yep. But it's got flubs in it. It's okay. It doesn't matter. Let it go.
Yeah, it's ironic that we're talking about a Steven Spielberg film. He was talking about his decision to, in an interview within the last few years, to go back and sort of alter E.T. and take the guns out of the agent's hands.
Replace them with
microphones.
Walkie-talkies,
And he said that he was going to alter it, to bring it back to its original form for the DVD release or something, and that you can't do that. You can't alter an original version of a film because that's what the film is. It's a moment in time. It's a moment in history, and the strings that are holding up, pie tins as UFOs and some old,
like the War of the Worlds or something.
Exactly, stuff like that. In fact, I think that's the example I'm trying to looking for. That's part of what makes that movie what it is.
Yeah.
And you can't remove stuff like that.
Yeah. And it's fine. It doesn't make it any less of a movie, unless you've got like some gaping plot hole, like a character dies and then they show back up later in the movie, which, the term plot hole has really been misused a lot lately on the internet. I think there are logical inconsistencies that happen in movies which not everything should be held to like perfect logic in a film. It's not going to work, folks. It's a movie. It's not supposed to be real. But the term plot hole is really thrown around a lot. Plot hole is when you have a character that maybe is dead and shows back up later. That would be a very bold example of a plot hole. But, there's a lot of little logical inconsistencies of things or things that don't really add up. That's not necessarily a plot hole. So all that aside, let's talk a little bit about this minute. I know that you have a lot of notes on this one, don't you?
Yeah. Okay, so first things first, the laboratory in this film.
Yeah.
We're talking about a film at the time of this recording that's, I think, 23 years old or something. At no point in this film does it feel dated to me.
Yeah.
And even when you're looking at Ford Explorers that were
they hit that Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer design was pretty much perfect out the gate. I don't think they really perfected on the Explorer design for a long time. But yeah, that doesn't feel like it's aged at all. And like the laboratory you're talking about, really the only thing that kind of looks like it stands out is maybe the computer monitors.
Yeah, the computer monitors, and even then, it's not really taking me out of it. It's the fact that it looks tangible and it looks believable and familiar. Helps me accept the things that this movie is trying to sell me. And that's the whole purpose of this movie, is to tell me that what is implausible is plausible.
Yeah, okay, so I'll say that I agree with you. The laboratory looks like it's held up pretty well. The CD-ROM that Lex is using inside of the Ford Explorer, that's a little bit
the
90s.
Unix system.
Yeah, the Unix system, which apparently is a real system. Did you know that?
I did not.
I got a message today from, I believe it was Mike. Mike was writing us about minute number 26 just to let us know that the Thinking Machine supercomputer is an actual thing. Thinking Machine is an actual corporation that makes computers. So, like we said, we thought it might be kind of a nickname for the super smart scientist that Mr. DNA was using. But no, in fact, there actually is a gigantic Thinking Machine computer that would tally up all this data and sort it out, so basically looking like a gigantic 3 billion line spreadsheet or something like that. So Mike, thank you very much for writing us in and letting us know about that. But he also wanted to let us know that later in the movie, when we talk about the Unix system, that actually was a real thing. And that's a real Silicon graphics application called FSN. So the one that Lex is using in the movie is an actual thing. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah, so the Unix system. But yeah, to speak to what you're talking about here, Star Wars doesn't really bother me so much. Star Trek doesn't bother me so much. The older tech, I don't know. I guess because everything around it looks aged as well, I kind of accept it. As long as the principles behind it are kind of interesting or futuristic. But you take a movie like Alien that holds up great because everything is so grungy and just is industrial in its form. Then a movie like Prometheus, which is a prequel, comes along and they've got 3D displays and stuff like that. Well, I can kind of give that a little bit because the Prometheus was like a cruiser class, a personal $1 trillion ship for Wayland, whereas the other one was basically a tugboat. So there's some cases where I can accept it, but yeah, in this case, I think this holds up really well, but there is a little bit of excess of use in Jurassic World. And I think that probably comes from the fact that there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of animators on these movies now, and sometimes those guys have to have something to do during the day. So somebody's like, I don't know, make a 3D, see-through thing over here, and so yeah, it's a little bit outlandish. I'll accept it a little bit more in a Marvel film, when we're on the deck of the SHIELD helicarrier, and some guy's got a 3D screen that he's using or something like that, you can see through it. For some reason, it works a little bit more for me. Anyway, back to your point though. Yeah, this holds up remarkably well.
All right, so let's talk a little bit more about B.D. Wong.
Yeah, tell me about B.D. Wong.
Henry Wu. Okay, well, so as we all know, as we've gotten into so many times already in the show, the character of Henry Wu was massive in the book. He's one of the biggest characters in the book and is only in the movie for maybe a minute and a half or something. Well, B.D. Wong had a pretty interesting career. He's played a multitude of types of characters. One is just to the extreme as the wedding planner in Father of the Bride. He's hilarious in that. And then things like Jurassic Park, where he's much more toned down, much more realistic. He was also in 7 Years in Tibet and voiced a character in Mulan. He's also had a very lengthy television career. He was on Law and Order for years. Gotham, Oz, or just a few others to name.
Yeah, didn't he play Hugo Strange on Gotham recently?
Right, yeah.
He did a great job.
Yeah, he was
that.
awesome.
I do recognize him from Law and Order as well, but I did not realize that he was Frank's assistant from Father of the Bride.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He's got a lot of range.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was a little bit let down whenever he came to the set for Jurassic Park and was only there for 1 day, because he had auditioned for the part through scenes from the book. So I think he was under the impression that this was going to be a much larger part. And then it wasn't. He's kind of in, and then he's kind of out. So one of my favorite things about Jurassic World was the fact that they brought Dr. Wu back. And that was a personal choice on behalf of Colin Trevorrow when he was writing the screenplay. A lot of people wanted Trevorrow to bring back characters that we knew from the previous films because we're all fanboys and we all love these characters, and but Trevorrow said that it would have been disrespectful to do that to those actors and those characters to try and shoehorn them in. Well, the only character that would have made sense to come back to this follow-up film is Dr. Wu.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It seemed like a very natural thing that he would have been rehired by the company or kept on by the company to head up the biosciences division or whatever it is that he does over at Engine. So seeing him in the movie felt natural. It felt like the real tie to the first one that was needed.
Yeah. And I'm really hoping they bring him back for Jurassic World 2. And it's kind of set up that he is going to come back. It's kind of implied. Speaking of bringing other characters back, and this is totally off topic, I think Dodson is really service.
I could see Dodson coming back.
The second film. We're talking about open source for the dinosaurs, so you're going to be getting competing companies. You've got Engine, you got Biosyn. Dodson is, I don't know.
So are we going to call it Jurassic World 2, Dodson's Revenge? The Wrath of Dodson? I can see him like holding up a Barbasol can, just like looking, on the poster, looking into the camera. But yeah.
So let's see. I never really saw. I've heard some people say that they see Dr. Wu as a villain, and I've never really seen that. I just see him as a really confident guy who's kind of overlooking certain mistakes, or not. Yeah, he's just not seeing them because he's so excited by all the other scientific leaps and bounds that he has been able to accomplish.
Yeah, so this is science with ethics removed in a way, and that's
Perfect.
kind of, it's like you're an unwilling bad guy. You didn't mean to go out and do anything intentionally bad, but because you kind of thought about, as Dr. Malcolm says, the can before I should, about exactly. Can I and not about should I, yeah.
And
that he ends up doing something bad, so yeah.
It is easy for people, fans of the films, to say that they think of him as a villain because he's involved in Jurassic World with the Vincent D'Onofrio character. And Vincent D'Onofrio is kind of manipulating him by saying, look, I understand and I appreciate and respect your skills, your capabilities. So why don't you work for me on this project I have in mind on, militarizing these things? And of course, that's building up someone's ego. They're going to be like, yeah, sure, man. You really like what I do? Yeah, I'll do it. And then, of course...
Oh, you're a fan? Well, sure. Let me help you out.
And that just seems like it's within this character's plight. So and then, of course, we see in the end of Jurassic World, spoiler warning, he's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
So I'm really...
Was it that he was kidnapped? I thought he jumped on a helicopter and took off after taking some of the samples with him.
Yeah, he says like, wait, where's Hoskins? Something to the degree that he was supposed to be on the plane. And Hoskins said, listen, I'm going to get you... All this shit's about to just go to hell. I want you to get some of your specimens. You get on this helicopter. I'll be there. We'll get you out of here safely. And then sure enough, the engine guy, whoever the worker is like... Don't worry, you're going to be
Does the engine logo
safe.
Like slowly peel off and it says Biosyn underneath it? Or I can see him like at the door going like, nice try, Biosyn, closes the door and it says Biosyn on it. Yeah.
That would have been ideal.
Yeah.
But no, man, that was their way of like saying, okay, well we've got this stuff whether, he likes it or not.
Do you think they capped him as soon as he got in there?
On that note, that's all I have for this minute.
Okay. I really don't have much for this minute at all, other than that one little flub of the little the robot arm being moved. So the robot arm is there to... The robot arm, sound like our grandmother. A robot arm is there to hold the egg steady as it's hatching. And then when we switch to the camera shot over Hammond's shoulder, it's completely gone.
Yeah, completely gone.
Yeah. All right, great. Well, that wraps it up for today, folks. Everybody go out there and have a wonderful holiday weekend. Spend it with your family. Tell them you love them. If you don't have a family, go out and find somebody else's and sit in for their, Thanksgiving scraps. I'm sure they'll give you some.
Just walk on in the front door.
Yeah, just walk into any house. That's what Thanksgiving's about, right? You go and you knock on the door and they let you in and come eat cranberry sauce with them. I don't know. I mean, you got to get rid of table scraps somehow. So, all right, folks. Well, we'll see you on Monday for minute number 30. I'm Kyle.
I'm Brady.
And until next time, hold on to your butts.
Jurassic Park Minute is a fan-supported podcast. If you like the podcast, then leave us a review on iTunes. You can contact us at JurassicParkMinute@gmail.com and visit us online at JurassicParkMinute.com, Facebook.com/JurassicParkMinute, and Twitter.com/JurassicMinute. You've been listening to a Pele Media podcast. For premium content and exclusive podcasts, visit us at patreon.com/Pele Media. Check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Pele Media and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/Pele Media.